This entertainment production is brought to you today by the Samurai Aquatics and Decor Metaventure. Scan that QR code or click that link in the description and dive yourself headfirst into the Samurai Aquatics Discord server to pleasure your peepers on our current and future range of outdoor decor.
The Whine and Cheese show is a Metaverse and NFT discussion and interview series brought to you by Metaverse Ventures Entertainment and host BEN68 and Morecheese. Warning: the information and opinions within are solely the views of the individuals involved and contains content not suitable for anyone.
G'day and welcome to episode 52 of the Whine and Cheese and the Metaverses show.
Today we talked to Coop and City Runner from Portage Park on how the node was created, council was established, their beautiful NFTs and projects they are involved in now and for the future.
Put your shoes on, you lazy bastards, and go for a city run while you digest yet another It's Not Poopy, It's All Coopy episode of
The worst show ever, but also make sure you watch all the way until the end. Ben and I talk Samurai Aquatics outdoor decor pricing and how you can get some of those allurement reserves. Later.
Don't fast forward, you lazy bastards.
You lazy bastards.
Whine and cheese. Time for wine and cheese. Wine and cheese. Time for wine and cheese. Cheese. One is a wanker, one's slinging stunts. One's from Australia, one's from the Bronx. Talking about the Metaverse and NFTs. Interviewing all the real crypto G's.
Hello, welcome to the Whine and Cheese and the Metaverses show. This is episode 52. I'm here with my co-host Ben. We have Coop and City Runner from Portage Park joining us today as our co-hosts. We'll do some Upland talk, some spielage, and then we'll get into the Portage Park project. Look at that, PPP.
It's the
Park
PPDP.
project.
Don't forget the DP.
Where's the D?
Development Project.
Development.
Portage Park PPDP. Take it away, Ben.
52.
52.
All right, what did you want to get into? First, Upland news.
Upland news.
Stress tests. I've been sleeping all the way through them.
It's too stressful for me.
Yeah, I didn't even try to go to the neighborhoods.
Nah.
If there was a stress test in San Fran, I'm already there. I'd do it. Lickety split. Or Bronx. I would travel to the Bronx.
I think I said somewhere, I don't know if it was Twitter or in the UDU channel or somewhere, where I think it just smells of the old trying to get like unloved areas minted out.
I mean, but
let's just do another stress test and another one.
But they do offer incentives for it, and they're not forcing you. I mean, it's not really much of a stress test because not everybody's going to be there, because not everybody's going to want to go there. But I don't know.
That's what
I mean, I don't know the full sitch of what they're testing.
Yes, and I just realized
I know
my
they got
laptop's
1,000 Flushing properties minted yesterday, bro.
Oh, that's fair effort. Geez, before we press record, I said there's something I forgot to do. Yeah, let's plug my laptop in. So I'm going to go do that.
Hey, better you get it now than later, right? And I'll be all a cheese all alone in the metaverse. There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, so stress test, I didn't bother. I just slept through because they're all at stupid bloody AM for me. So I'm not going to get up at 2 a.m. to do a stress test. That's too much stress.
It's so funny because like I'm a night person. He's a morning person. Like I'm up at 1 a.m. already, but he's like all nicely snuggled in bed, and he gets up at like crazy a.m. and I'm still sleeping in bed.
Well,
they should turn it around.
It seems to work. The other major thing is, I guess, there's Cars, another release of Cars, and there's been a whole conspiracy play out on Twitter, which I've been laughing my absolute ass off about. Loving it.
I was so close to getting a car, but yeah, you just told me about this conspiracy theory like this morning, and I was laughing.
I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, go and check it out. It's pretty funny. Have you two lads managed to secure yourself a car or 2 or 5, as some people have got?
I was so close.
I have not. I think my best has been like 5 hours out or something, unfortunately. Keep trying.
I was 19th place. I was so close. I could taste it. And it was cherry red, like not a semi truck, not a car, but one of those pickup trucks. Not something I wanted, but something I would have definitely purchased.
How about you, Coop?
I've got a black truck. Now that we can transfer them, I'm trying to see if anybody that got one of the green trucks will trade. But
I'm a green truck fan as well. Like my green is my favorite color. That's cool. I like it.
Interesting. Yeah, I got a truck. I was second in line. That's about it. Pretty happy with that. I hated the sky blue, but then I parked it next to all the stuff we got going on in Midtown Terrace, and it seemed to match in quite well. So we'll leave it at that. All right, let's move on because that's kind of boring. Jesus found a few articles for us to dive in quickly today. I really like at least the headline of this first one. Hong Kong University of Science and Technology to build Metaverse campus. Now, just off the bat, straight away, I've been talking to my kids, especially Keanu, as you would know if you've been watching the show. He's a fiend for technology and that sort of thing. And Cheese and I have been talking about maybe getting him back on to give us the lowdown on what the hell's going on with the Roblox, because he's all about the Roblox at the moment. And been talking to him like, mate, the job that you're going to have in the future, it's that job not even invented yet, so don't even stress. So I think this is a good, maybe a good little insight into that. Metaverse campus. So the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology has announced plans to build an online-based Metaverse campus called what? Metacast.
Metacast. Don't make fun of it. The institution will take its first step towards this goal by building a mixed virtual reality classroom that will allow students from other latitudes to attend classes like they were in the same space. So like instead of looking at a Zoom call like we're doing, this would be, you know, kind of putting on your glasses or your goggles and like, you know, actually walking into a classroom, which is sounds
that's cool.
really cool.
I did 2 degrees at 2 universities as undergrad, and that was way back in the day where you had to get up at stupid AM and drive and go in for a 1-hour lecture and do all that boring stuff. And then when I did my postgrad, it was all online. And then when I went back and did my master's, that was fully online. Everything was online. So yeah, this is the next step. That's cool.
Yeah. So
that probably end up getting pretty good attendance that way too.
Exactly, because it's new, it's fun.
Yeah, I wonder how that's going to work, because my biggest thing, especially when I did my master's, was I don't got time to sit there listening to 8 3-hour lectures every week. So this is how I got used to listening to everything at 3x speed, because I didn't want to sit through boring lectures. So yeah, I don't know.
I wonder if they're going to have because you know China's so technological, like if it's going to be like full body or just your face or whatnot, like they could see your hands moving. So if somebody decides to pick their nose, everybody will see you picking your nose. Electric shock. Wow.
I was going to say something then, but I won't. All right, let's move on. Institutions are finding more functions and applications for metaverse spaces, and they are slowly integrating these technologies into their everyday processes. Yada, yada, yada. Planning to create a joint metaverse that will integrate both of its campus locations as if they were one. Oh, that's cool, because I know the university that I attended for my master's was in Brisbane, and they had multiple campuses there. I visited them once, but yeah, it'd be cool. I know the students that had to be on campus, they were forever getting shuttle buses backwards and forwards. Like, what a pain in the butt that'd be.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, or like people who need to work. Like I used to work during the day and go to college at night. It would have been awesome if I could just go home and just put my my thing on and attend it virtually.
Absolutely. The institution explained the benefits that metaverse-based classrooms and campuses can offer when compared to a more traditional remote classroom setup that consists of using video conference tools like Zoom. Huey stated that metaverse environments offer more interaction for students that can feel as if they were attending lessons in the real world, he explained. Using Zoom feels like you're just looking at a 2D screen. Yeah, Zoom sucks. We use Zoom, but it's...
I like Zoom. Zoom
well,
is
it
so
works.
easy. Yeah.
It's like the Honda Civic of streaming platforms.
I feel like it's the old person's streaming platform.
It is. And I say Honda Civic. Honda Civic was one of my favorite cars. So
yeah,
I had one of those.
I don't know cars.
But through virtual reality, you can feel as if you're there. I think interaction is very important for learning. How you interact with the students around you will increase your learning outcome. Yeah, that's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to chime in?
Good for you, China.
Online learning?
I do it.
Yeah,
what are you going to study, Cheese?
I graduated in business management. I would love to get like a online business management sort of update. My graduation was 20 years ago.
You old.
The first place.
Yeah,
the first place my brain goes when looking at this is sort of the implications for the universities. Because it's probably different in your neck of the woods, Ben, or in China, but in the U.S., room and board and all these facility fees make up a huge bill for the students, and so that if universities start transitioning to this sort of virtual model, it's going to be hard for them to sustain the revenue that they're used to. So I wonder how they're going to adopt it or not.
They'd probably make tuition more. They would have to adapt and evolve. Like everybody's going to have to adapt and evolve due to virtual reality and the metaverse. Even corporations and video gaming that said they'd never do it, they're going to have to do it. It's not even about going from like cleaner energy. It's about this is something that everybody is going to do.
Well, I don't know what it's like in the States, but universities in Australia are already struggling with lower enrollment rates because, the carrot to get a university degree is not what it is now. Like, if I look at people my age who, instead of going to university for 10 years, like I stupidly did, they went and got a trade. If they're a tradesman or some kind, they're earning 10x the money I am.
Yeah. And like, for example, I was the only one in my family to get a degree, and I got all my cousins and my brother in without degrees. So like I had to suffer to get them in. It's about who you know nowadays, or all the time for all of time. It's not about what you know anymore. So, they'll have to deal with it.
Surprisingly, like I know at the University of Arkansas, this year's freshman class was the largest enrollment ever. Coming off of COVID and everybody distancing, I thought that was kind of surprising.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, it's definitely interesting. It's definitely the way things are headed. So we'll just have to wait and see. Now we're going to race through these. The next one, I should probably bring it up. I don't know why I did stop share. Help myself on the back end when I clip these. So you found this one as well. Breaking news. What's this about, Cheese?
So, all right. So this is about Haitian coming to Epic and creating a metaverse within their gaming system or their games. And people, this was like a really big thing in the gaming community, because this just tells us that virtual reality, metaverse, NFTs, they're coming, whether you like it or not. They're here already. Like, deal with it. And they're thinking, they're trying to figure out what is going to be like the first metaverse within gaming. A lot of people are thinking Fortnite is going to have a metaverse, but like Epic Games is a pretty big platform right there with Steam. I use both of them, and I think people are going to just have to deal with it.
Yeah, you got to suck it up, buttercup, I think. Like we said, with the whole university thing, it's the way it's headed, and you either get on board or you don't. So it says here, for those who still don't take the metaverse seriously, this may just be enough for them to finally take notice. That's right. Epic Games, the company behind the massively popular Fortnite, is among several investors backing a Web3 computing startup called Hadean. Epic Games has a massive user base and a huge catalog of games, so this move is a major step forward for Web3 tech and the metaverse. Let's dive in and find out what this particular development means for Web3 fans and the world of gaming as a whole.
Now, Web3 fans, like, this is crazy because, see, oh my God, look right there, the sandbox. And just to tell people out there, when we pick our articles, we don't read through them. We just look for the ones that are the most interesting, just so that we can have that excitement reading through them on here with everybody out there at home. Just seeing the sandbox there is amazing. Like, we've discussed many problems current metaverse projects face. While there are definitely some standouts like the sandbox working to build their own metaverse and bring it well-known brands, the vast majority of so-called metaverses are little more than tech demos or reworkings of Minecraft, which is true.
Wow.
Which is true, though. It's like, it's not really the only metaverse that I've seen so far that is very unique is Upland. Like, everything else is basically like a version of Minecraft or something that you don't really have anything to do in there but shop. So on top of this, most of these projects, even many of the more promising ones, aren't in VR. Upland's not in VR yet. The trouble is we have many different metaverses, but none of them are actually interconnected. And that's something else we talked about then. And moreover, most of these projects just don't have the ability to meaningfully scale. So what this tells me is Hadean is going to work to create a metaverse where you can go into any game you own within there, which is interconnected. That right there has so many possibilities that I can't even think of right now. Like, all of them. Like, there's going to be so many really cool things. Like, are you Coop and City Runner, are you guys gamers?
Not as much as I used to be.
Oh, I love to game. Oh my gosh. And Epic is awesome because they offer free games every day. There's like, and they're popular ones. They're not the silly ones that, you know, are not popular. And I don't know, I think this is just like so out of the box thinking. And because we did a episode about Steam not wanting to do virtual reality or NFTs.
Yeah, all the butthurt gamers like freaking out about NFTs. We've been talking about that for ages.
I heard recently, though, that there was this new platform, I think called Flame, that was kind of like going to be built off of Steam or religious Steam. That was going to be, the whole idea was like onboarding blockchain games and just sort of a platform like Steam. But I think it was actually related somehow to Steam.
Well, there you go. They have no choice but to adapt to it. Because
you know, actually, I think it might have been one of the people involved in the creation of Steam. Maybe it's not an actual Steam product. Maybe that's what it was. But
yeah, because there was an article saying Steam refused.
Yep.
Remember back in the day, Ben? We did a show on that. Like, they outright refused to do any NFT games or blockchain games at all. And now,
I think the analogy we used is like the old man on his horse and buggy shaking his fist at the people driving past in the first cars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now they own a Tesla. Now the old man is driving around. Good, sorry.
Says here, Hadean provides the infrastructure and computational power that allows you to build, run, and monetize the metaverse. Build, run, monetize. Isn't that what we talked about Roblox was doing?
Yes.
With the advertising and that sort of stuff. So they're all kind of headed in that direction. Same with Upland. You build, you run different things, and we're heading towards monetization with, third-party apps and whatnot. Powering immersive user experiences, Hadean's open, scalable infrastructure dynamically connects audiences around the world. Yeah, that's cool.
And
so did any of that really hit home? Yep, keep going.
Oh, this is really important that, like, we're going to start seeing the big people come in and start building Web3 on top of the metaverse. And that's why we have to support, the community projects such as like the, Upix World or anything else that's really coming out that is gonna connect the metaverse to like a gaming experience. Like, I'd rather, while this excites me a great deal and I can't wait to do it and try it out and, you know, definitely be a part of it. I'd like to see some names I'm familiar with and like in real life metaverse. So I think it's important to also kind of like support our community in this. Just to
Yeah,
put
it's
that
just
out
all that's
there.
just all extra pieces in the puzzle, isn't it? That's all
Yeah.
heading in that direction. It says here basically the problem with the metaverse as it stands is that everything sits in its own bubble, which is a fair. I think that's pretty fair to say, and the computational power required to actually make it viable just isn't available. Yeah. I don't know about that. Although I have been in Decentraland and played around in there, and it's pretty clunky, but that's probably just because I've got a shitty old donkey laptop, so I don't know. Hadean raises 30 million in funding. 30 million doesn't really raise the eyebrows nowadays when you're talking about some companies are investing billions, but they could do a lot of damage with that. It's no small sum, and with a proven track record of results, it's entirely likely that Hadean will rise to the occasion and help the metaverse become a reality sooner than later. Yeah, that's cool.
I actually found that article for Flame, and it's really interesting. I'm going to put it in the chat here. And basically it's saying how in October 2021, Valve announced bans on blockchain games and NFTs on its Steam platform. And ironically, the founder of Steam has joined Ryu Games and is working on its Steam for Web3. So it's like it's such a funny thing, like how quick they kind of yes,
yeah,
how quick they were like, oh snap, we have to do this now.
Yes, flippy floppy. So this goes into what Epic Games is all about a bit more. So this is happening, people. Yeah, that's what we keep saying. And that's kind of goes off what you said too. Every day we see more and more big names jumping into Web3 and the metaverse. The fact that Epic Games are now making some major moves to secure their staking in the emerging open metaverse speaks volumes about the potential, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's. So what do you think about Epic Games backing Hadean? Is this really big news, or do you think it's overhyped?
I think it's big.
It's another.
Yeah, I mean, any studio or company that has gone through what it takes to build a game, that's who you want to be helping you build your metaverse.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's cool. Since day one of this show, we've been talking about how this is all an inevitability. So that's cool to see it all just chugging along.
Chugga.
This next one is an interesting one, and the last one that we'll look at for this show today is all about crypto. Now, what have you got here, Cheese? Cryptocurrencies extend drop as tough environment culls demand.
Yeah,
doom and gloom.
Doom and gloom. Because I know you like the FUD ones, and I'm like, I have to put a FUD one in there for Ben.
I love it because I just laugh.
A lot of people are losing their jobs, like cryptocurrency jobs and whatnot.
Piss off. Can I go? Can I go devil's advocate straight off the bat before we even dive in?
I love it.
Scroll out, people. Scroll the fuck out. Look, here we are. Bitcoin is at 18,000 US dollars or whatever, and people are losing their goddamn minds. Yeah, of course. If you look at the high or whatever it was, Hey, what is that? 60K. Was Bitcoin at 60K?
Yeah.
It was because that's when
it hit 67.
Yeah, that's when I decided that I was going to learn about crypto and join in. All-time high. Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's been a one-way ride since then.
maybe that's the reality check that I need then. Because, of course, if you FOMOed in at 60K and you're looking at the prices at 18K, your eyes are going to be bugging out of your head. I joined 2017-ish, so way back here somewhere. So I think... Go ahead.
No, yeah, about the same. Mine was like 1K, a little over.
I was at 4K Australian when I first bought in. So, you know, and I remember riding up to the 12K and everyone like losing their minds when it dumped after then, you know, and then it was the 28K or whatever it was. So, I mean, you just got to scroll out, people, really, on most of these charts.
Oh, that's what you meant with scroll out.
Yeah.
I was like, scroll out. What?
Yeah, I mean, people look at these charts on the I see so many people looking at charts on the 5 minutes or something, you know. You look at a chart on the 5 minute, you're gonna be, yeah, she's pumping, woo! You're just madness. You're just gonna get a big, massive set of red candles like that, you know, unless you're a mad gambler. This is why a dollar cost average every single day.
Chart. That chart looks amazing.
Yeah. Well, for somebody like you, you see lots of opportunity there for sure, but you know, I don't know. All right. So that's my devil's advocate, is just scroll out, people. And here, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies slid on Friday as investors continue to bail from riskier assets following the Federal Reserve's promise that it will stay aggressive in its fight against inflation. Largest digital coin by market value fell as much as 3.7% during the session to trade around 18,000 and change. Ether, the second largest, was down 4.7. Yada, yada, yada. Yeah. I mean, a 3.7% drop in crypto, does anybody blink over that? That's nothing. 3.7% drop. That's hilarious.
That's daily.
But see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is why they're the Fed. So basically, I don't know if you watch like American politics, but when Trump was in power, he never wanted the Fed to raise the price, because if you raise the price, that means that, oh my God, I'm brain farting. Like it's not good for stocks or investments of any kind. And if it's like a crazy train, the stock market. If you look at and even the thought of we might raise it will make everything dump, sort of thing.
Of course. Yeah. I think this is a reflection of what's happening in the global markets as a whole. And the fact that it's only dropped 3.7% is kind of mind-blowing to me. I'd expect it to be way worse. Usually crypto fluctuates at the extremes of the regular financial markets. So, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of funny to me.
It's crypto just the beginning, though, is what I'm thinking they're thinking. Because they're going to keep on raising it.
Let me go back here. What's the global market cap? The global market cap's still $900 million. I remember, I think some of my early charts, I was charting it when it was 100 million. You know, that's, I don't know, it seems a bit funny to me. Maybe I can offer a personal insight, which of course is not financial advice. Do your own research, yada, yada, yada. There is a lot of talk about recessions and increased interest rates. They have been bumping up the interest rates here in Australia every time. It's going up, 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 up. For our home mortgage, I don't know if I talked about it on this show or the UDU podcast, but I recently started dollar cost average again for the first time in 3 years. I hadn't bought any crypto at all for 3 years, but you know, I could see what was on the horizon and started nibbling again. That's kind of a hedge against everything that's going on, because like our mortgage repayments are what they are. I wanted to get our family budget in a place where we were kind of settled with paying way more. So instead of just putting that extra, I'll call it extra money, but it's not really extra money. Instead of just putting that on the mortgage or into a bank savings account, I just started dollar cost average again. So every week I put X amount of our weekly budget aside to dollar cost average out into crypto. As the interest rates rise, well, I just reduce my dollar cost averaging rate. You know, that's what I do, because that makes sense to me. Could I just stack all that money in my savings account and then wait for big dumps and then probably make more in the long run? Yeah, sure, I probably could, but I don't want the stress of that. I just nibble away every day and don't even consider it, don't even worry about it. So
there you go.
I don't know. Bitcoin's dominance has waned in recent months amidst the sell-off. Has it though? We've been charting Bitcoin dominance in the UDU podcast for the last, 20 shows or something. It's always around that same 39-40%. I don't think this is just full-on FUD piece.
Yeah, it's a full-on FUD. I know you like your FUD pieces.
I do.
But it's Bloomberg, so it's
I might increase my dollar cost averaging based on this. Yes. I don't know. Lads, anything to add?
I don't know on the dominance. I haven't looked at the numbers, but I know the other day most crypto was back down to those lows of a couple months ago, where Ethereum was actually still sitting ahead of it. That could contribute to a little bit less dominance, but I didn't check what percentages were.
Let me bring up, while you're talking there, Cheese, let me bring up our little thing that we do.
And I just got a notification from Epic. Free. See what's now free in the Epic store. Let's see.
Oh, there you go.
Why you bringing something up?
All right. Now this is these numbers are maybe it'll melt your eyes, but this is the back end data that I do for the stats we use on the UDU podcast. So we started recording crypto on the 24th of May. Bitcoin was at $29,000 went up to 32, and then it's kind of, there was 1 week there where it went from 30,000 to 22, and then since then it's just kind of chugged along at about that 19, 23, yada 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 21. I don't know. That seems pretty bloody stable for Bitcoin to me. The last 3 months it's fluctuated between 19,000 and 20,000 for Bitcoin. That seems, pretty damn stable.
I don't know about that, but the free games are Fall Guys, Rocket League, Ark, and Gloomhaven.
Oh wow, I've heard of at least 2 of those.
Yeah, Ark is a big MMO. Like that one is pretty cool. Rocket League I used to play, but it's soccer, American like soccer, football with cars. So you have soccer. So you're driving like these different cars, and you're trying to push the ball into the net. It's fun.
Oh, I know what it is. I'm just laughing at the way you say soccer. It sounds like you're talking about domestic violence.
Soccer tour. Soccer.
All right, I'm ready to move on. I'm boring myself with my own voice. Well, who we got here today? What's this all about?
Portage Park, City Runner, Coop, pour us a really hot cup, steaming cup of Portage Park.
Of PPDP.
PP, pour us a hot cup of PP. ... DP.
I'm pretty sure Cheese doesn't know what DP refers to, so that's probably.
I don't.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Don't Google it.
Fucking God. There's always something.
Yes.
I'm not gonna Google it.
All right, where do we want to start, boys? Portage Park. What's this all about?
How'd you guys come into the idea of Portage, and what were you? What's your life before it and after?
That's a good way to put it. I like that.
I'll kick us off and then hand it off to Coop. But as you heard me mention before, I bought into crypto at the all-time high last year, and that was really my introduction to the whole sort of like crypto metaverse Web3 space. And I was looking around at different tokens, learning about sort of what's going on, and I came across an article that talked about some property in like Wall Street or something that had sold for like some crazy amount of money. I was like, what is this game? I need to learn it. I need to figure out what it is. Hopped into Upland, hang out in the general server for a while, saw some familiar names. And one day, this player, Hanzilla, Origin 541, talked about how he was looking at this corner of Chicago because everything else was minted out. And I guess he had some ancestry. He's Polish. There's Polish roots in Portage Park. He's like, let's like try to build a block. So we set up a server, started bringing people, said, hey, let's build a block. And then it just kind of like went crazy from there. We're like, can we build 2 blocks? Can we build 3 blocks? Oh my God, like, can we like go even further out? And at the time, we never had any like illusion that we were gonna mint out a 14,000 property neighborhood. I was brand new in the game. But like the momentum just kept going. And in the beginning, a lot of folks were like kind of looking at Portage as like a meme node, if you will. Not kind of didn't really take it serious, but we just kind of put our heads down and worked. We tried to make it a fun place to be. We had a lot of competitions around minting. We had people like Ben come in and scoop up a whole bunch of properties, and this just kept going. And I think one of the things that really tipped the scales was we crushed it during the Halloween competition last year. There's a lot of neighborhood cooperation, people working together to get it decorated, and we were selected by Upland to sort of host this sort of Halloween parade. And I think that put us on the map for a lot of folks that weren't already clued into Portage. So we've just kept going through there. That's kind of like the origin, if you will, of Portage Park. But Coop was a very early member as well, so I don't know if you want to share anything about how you got into Portage, Coop.
Yeah, I had just started. I mean, I think I had been in the Upland Discord server for maybe a day, hadn't even minted a property yet because the FSAs that were left in Chicago were higher than what I started with. So I had to wait to get enough updates to even mint something. And I saw City's message about Portage Park, and I mean, that was kind of what I was looking for anyway, was a place to meet with other people who were doing whatever this Upland game was. And I jumped into the server the day that he opened it, and like he said, let's try to mint around this certain little spot in Portage Park, but we never dreamed that it would end up that the whole place would get minted out and would build the way it did. It's like he was talking about Ben. I mean, Ben had been minting, but I think he was at like 300, maybe close to 400 properties, and then the Halloween thing happened. And he said before he saw the writing on the wall, so he just spent however long fighting captures to mint another 600 something properties that night.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if critical was not the right word, but I was a bit skeptical early on. I guess would be a fair assessment. But it became pretty obvious to me early on that there was substance behind it because keep in mind we'd seen various other projects come out within the community that were maybe not along similar lines, but the general sort of vibe, how, we're going to do this, that, and the other thing. And we'd already had a history of, we'll believe it when we see it sort of thing. But it was, I think it was well before the Halloween thing that I started taking a closer look. And then I knew it was going to be a snowball effect. I've copped a bit of flack because, you're just a freaking whale. You just gobbled it up to make a profit, that sort of thing. People that say that, well, go and check out how many I got for sale. It's not that at all. And it was especially the people that were started to get involved, and it was more, the Upland's a community game, and that's what it's all about, and it's what you were saying and the way you were going out about things. Like very early on, you started talking about the council aspect of how you were going to set this all up, and that kind of intrigued me more than anything else was how that was all going to play out. And we've seen we had seen attempts at councils, this sort of council system being set up before, and we've seen them set up after. I still think there's nothing that's come anywhere even close to how successful Portage has been in that regard. What do you guys think sets what you've set up apart from what maybe came before or what's tried to come after?
The main reason when we set it up was because of the growth. I mean, the four of us were, donating what we could here and there, spending time doing different things to run competitions. But as we grew, I mean, it was basically that we needed more help.
Yep.
I mean, I would add too, I mean, like you said, the idea always that we wanted to be sort of we were the community for folks who weren't able to buy in, to cities like San Francisco and Manhattan that had already been minted and, all the collection properties. This was, 14,500 something property neighborhood where you could go in and get a cheap property and you could be a part of Portage, and we wanted you there. And so we've always been about how do we make a space where anyone can be a part of. I think there's actually one of a logo, I think, on the website that says where everyone has a home or something. And so it was just kind of like natural over time. People came forward with different energy and ideas. Like actually our very first NFT wasn't even our idea. It was a community member who minted these like 6 corners NFTs, which were a part of Portage Park, and distributed them. And we said, okay, anyone who's resident gets one of these. And so there was, just these different sort of players from the community merge with ideas, and the council was a way to like kind of formalize that. Let's get some help, like Coop said, and let's bring some more energy in. So we had the 4 moderators: Coop, myself, Henzilla, and MRFR. We're sort of like this. If you look at the UN, like this, the permanent members, we're kind of the permanent members, if you will, the moderators. And then we said, let's bring the council in. So we have 4 elected positions that are voted on by the community. They have 3-month terms, and they work very closely with us to figure out what are the strategies, what are the building competitions, what are the art competitions, how do we manage our wax projects, and just sort of how do we keep things going. So yeah, it's been great. And one more piece I'll add is we're actually having a sort of another kind of big step in the evolution of our community governance model right now, which is we are for the first time going to elect a mayor. So we've had, as I said, sort of 4 permanent members, the 4 rotating members, and that we've established a specific mayor, where the idea is this is someone who's been a part of the community and wants to put a little elbow grease into continuing to organize things and bring their vision to Portage Park, work with the council, work with the community. And, we're excited to see kind of like who emerges from that, and sort of, it feels weird to sort of say old guard, when I want to call with, folks like you've been in the game much longer, but Portage is over a year old, and we're ready to see, sort of new energy and leaders emerge from within the community, the council, and kind of let them run with it. And we're here to, continue being sort of this like stable long-term presence to help with things. But the council and the mayor positions are going to help grow the governance model, and, maybe other nodes learn from it. Maybe they say, hey, this is what we want to do. They say, oh my God, that was a terrible idea. Let's not do that. So, we're always about trying new things and seeing how they work out.
It's very interesting. Like you got to the point now where you're going to elect what will be the first kind of official, community mayor sort of thing. But that's how all of this started, was any sort of neighborhood development. The idea of a neighborhood development where players getting together to work together, it started off with this concept of various people within San Francisco back in the day minting out neighborhoods, owning as many properties as they could in the neighborhood, and calling themselves the unofficial mayor of the neighborhood. It was kind of almost a joke, and that's how Midtown Terrace started off as well. All of the very old school projects that people would have heard of, or maybe haven't heard of because they're quite quiet and underground. It was all this kind of jokey, I'm the mayor of whatever neighborhood thing. But now it's cool to see that kind of taken more seriously and matured, and this, that, and the other thing. And I also like that you kind of have a hybrid system where you have the 4 founders there that are the core stable foundation. I think that's really, really super important, and one of the major strengths that you have. Yeah, that's really cool. I know, Cheese, what do you think about all this?
I agree. Like at first, like when I heard about the council and elections, I'm like, oh my God, like I see some people in there that shouldn't be putting their names forward. I'm not gonna mention any, and I was nervous. I'm like, all right, they're gonna have somebody take over. But like you said, it's important to have the 4 founders there as a kind of stable foundation. So then once I found out that, you guys aren't like just giving complete power over to someone, but just somebody to come in and create activity and bring new ideas to the plate, it made me feel a lot better.
Yeah, that was one of the ideas, was just that we welcome anybody to come in, run for the council, run for mayor, and, implement your ideas and everything. But we have put a lot of work into it, and we wanted to make sure that we had that veto say that nobody could come in and do anything stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Is there any success stories or challenges that you could point to that have been part of that process?
One of the success stories I would share is that, we created some special roles. So one of the things we realized is, people are volunteering their time and effort, right? This is, a game, but we love it. We're part of the community, but it's time, and people put effort in. And so one of the things we realized is at one of our elections, one of our council members was not reelected, because it is a community vote. We don't sort of get to say who the council members are, but this was an individual that contributed so much and had a unique skill set. We said, we're going to create a special role where they can continue to contribute So we don't want to lose that. So we've had different sort of specialist roles, we've called them over time. We had a sort of programmer specialist role that helped us with our website and some data tracking. We had some artist special roles that were helping with things. We have a social media specialist now. And so these are positions that are not necessarily tied into the formal sort of decision-making structure, if you will, but they collaborate and connect with and are part of like the governance, if you will, of the neighborhood in a way. So I would say that was a success, finding ways to keep people engaged if they want to give of their time and effort, independent of sort of like the formal election council process.
That's good. That's good.
How about you, Coop? Anything that's been a challenge on the flip side?
I mean, one of the bigger challenges is just we set up the building guidelines not because we wanted to tell anybody how they had to build, but more so that we just thought it would look better if it was more uniform. And so you, of course, have people that come in and build wild literally just to laugh in the face of that.
Yeah.
So that is, of course, a challenge. But at the end of the day, I mean, most of the neighborhood is pretty uniform, and all you did really was help get our build percentage up. So,
You know, I can speak to that too. And I hear a lot about it. I know I heard, you know, I hear people sometimes talking about that in a cafe, like, oh, ha ha ha, I ruined this person's beautiful node thing, or it happened in Bronxdale, and people I took the same mentality as you, like, all right, there's a build there, so I don't have to worry anymore. I'd rather have a build with a different color and most of it be, you know, my color instead of not a build there at all. So haha on you, the joke's on you. But it's a great way to think about it.
Yeah. Well, I'm one of those assholes that built an apartment in Portage Park the wrong colours, and I did that deliberately because I was hoping to extend the Samurai Aquatics business over into Portage Park in some respect. So I built it in the Samurai Aquatics colours. However, we now know that with showrooms and this and that and the other thing, that's logistically not an option there. So I will demolish that apartment and put up a proper coloured one.
Jerk.
So Ben, just to hop in real quick, don't demolish your building. You don't need to do that. So one of the things I would share is, you know, we have always seen the moderators as sort of like facilitators of Portage Park as opposed to like the directors of Portage Park, if you will. So for instance, the building guidelines are subject to revision, and we actually have a channel within Portage Park where people can propose changes to anything about Portage Park. And, you know, can we add this building style? Can we like change the placement of the houses? I don't want to put it in the curb. I want to put it in the middle. And so there's a process. People can put forward recommendations about how Portage Park is run, including the building guidelines, and then people can vote on it. And if that's, you know, if everyone said, hey, we're going to have like blue houses backwards, you know, it would pain me, but we have this process for people to decide how they want Portage to be. So yeah, so people can win.
I could never do that. Props to you, but I could never do that. I mean, like, screw you. Going forward.
We've seen that where people have purposely built against whatever it is the design's in there and then put it up for sale at stupid prices, assuming that you're going to buy it to demolish and rebuild it. Where we've always taken the mentality of we'll just leave that there as a shining beacon of what a dickhead you are, sort of thing. So
greasy.
Yes. All right. Well, I won't demolish it. Maybe I'll consider building out that full block. Full block. I don't know if you want to dig into that. That's been an ongoing. That's been an ongoing joke.
Yeah. And then I mean, sometimes it's not even people that are trying to cause chaos. I mean, like if you look at VTC Bozo, he's been one of the biggest builders in Portage Park. And he literally just got tired of building red and white. So he took a small little block and built his own little colors just to break it up a little bit to himself.
Yeah. Yeah, or people just don't know. There's a significant percentage of the player base that's not on Discord. So, you know, that's a factor as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
honestly, I would say, though, we named this because you asked us to name a challenge, but you know, from day to day, it's not something that I lose sleep over. You know, I think Portage has so much going for it. Some backwards, you know, buildings or colors, like haha, like big deal. Like there's so much such a bigger picture here. So yeah, I'm not losing sleep over it.
Nice.
Yeah, and sometimes when we have new players who come in and have built it the wrong way, they like demolish on their own, and then they start a new one. And
Yep.
when I see that happens, me or the other modders will throw some spark on there in gratitude that they're trying to follow the guidelines. But yeah, it's not the end of the world.
Speaking of bigger pictures, do you have anything planned in the future towards Web3 and kind of like connectivity towards your node, the Portage Park node? Or like events any future events coming up?
Maybe that's a good segue to Portage on Wax.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's probably our most immediate connection to Web3, but there's some other things we can mention as well. So, just to give people a little bit of background, Portage Park has had a history over time of like issuing NFTs to the community. It's kind of like a fun thing to do. We're in the space, we all like NFTs, so let's do it. So we had some resident NFTs issued for free to the community. When we were minting at our neighborhood, we created these founders tokens, which is really nice 3D rotating medallions that represented ownership in the neighborhood as we were pushing to mint it out. And we had sort of winter NFT competition. People submitted designs, the community voted one, we minted it and sent it to everyone for free. And sort of each time we did these projects, we were like, well, what can we do next? What can we do different? And so then we wound up doing our first sale of NFTs earlier this year. And essentially people had the chance to submit designs that were voted on by the community. And the top 4 designs were minted in limited edition runs of 25 NFTs. And they were sold to the community for pretty cheap. With the profits, I think it was something like 80% went to the artists, if I'm not mistaken. And then the 25th mint was, or the number 1 mint was auctioned off. So that was kind of our first dabble into selling NFTs, and from there we said, let's go bigger. Let's have fun with this. And so we decided to create a project called Portage Park on Wax, where rather than being sort of like one-off NFTs based on random stuff in the server, we're actually going to make a collection that had some function and utility. And so I can drop in the chat here if you don't have it. We created a white paper that explained our vision. We did a couple posts on Medium about it. But essentially the Portage and Wax collection was, there were sort of a couple goals behind it. One was to create a fun collectible for Portage Park. Cool imagery connected to Portage Park, the themes, the Upland game, etc. 2 was to sort of create a way to uplift artists within Upland. All of the art for the project has been or will be created by names that you'd recognize, for instance, your co-host. And then 3 is to sort of create a revenue source for Portage Park. Over the last year plus, we've done so many giveaways of Spark, of property, of just wax, of different things. It's all kind of come out of the pockets of the moderators. To your point, Ben, earlier, this was not a get rich quick scheme where we're all flipping properties. We all hold our properties and we donate money to the community. And so we said, that's not sustainable forever. So maybe a revenue source that's fun at the same time is let's sell some NFTs, and the proceeds then we'll use to plow back into Portage Park. So, any of the proceeds from the sale of the project go first to paying the creators. And then second, the remainder goes to, Spark rentals or buying properties or structures and giving them to the community based on whoever holds these NFTs. So that's kind of in a big picture, the idea behind Portage and Wax. But Coop has been, instrumental and sort of from the beginning kind of designing so well. So I don't know if Coop, there's pieces you want to add about this project.
Covers it pretty well. I mean, really, the idea behind it came from, we're not the new kids on the block anymore. There are so many nodes that have come in since we started. And people like to get involved in as many as they can. So we were just trying to think of new ideas and ways that we could kind of circle some interest back and keep Portage moving. And most people in Upland like wax. They like being involved with wax projects and getting wax NFTs. And so far, after going through most of the numbers, we ended up having to make it where there were benefits to owning it, but nothing that was guaranteed. So really the only goal leading forward is to just see how interested people are, how big it can get, and see if we can try to create a way to link it to the neighborhood where you actually get benefits for doing certain things on the wax side.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've always liked about the project is that it doesn't promise things, like you're not getting ahead of yourself, basically, is what I'm trying to get at. Where a lot of these other projects, they put stuff out there, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then it's just crickets and nothing gets done and the whole thing implodes on itself. So, I think it's a very smart way to go about things. Now, we kind of glossed over before, I think it was City Runner, you touched on how early on you thought it was kind of impossible to work towards a situation where you were going to mint out 14,000 something properties, which, that was before the expansion. Like, how many extra properties were opened up when Chicago expanded?
Oh, that's a good question. It was a substantial amount. I want to say probably at least 800 or 1,000. Do you remember, Coop, how many it was?
It got us from 14.3 to just over 15,000.
Yeah, 15,000.
Substantial.
Yeah. Most other neighborhood projects that had come before that were in the order of, unless you're talking out of Sunset, that was never really a serious project, you're talking in the order of 400 to 700 properties, 400 to 800 maybe. That was the typical node size. And then this is definitely at an extreme above that. I always knew that it was only a matter of time because, through the history of the UDU, we had seen, or we'd actively pushed to get San Francisco sold out. So we saw the snowball. Like, it took so long to get San Francisco to 50% minted out. But once it started to get to that 60% minted out phase, the rest just demolished so quick. And I knew the exact same thing was going to happen in Portage, which is kind of why I went, when I forget, I don't know what, I must have sold something to have so much UPX burning holes in my pockets that I had it available to go ham in Portage Park. But yeah, it definitely seemed like a get what you can now, because it's all going to be gone so fast. And I think we saw that's how it played out. Like, once it got out in the community. And were you actively pushing, like, how much percentage was left? Was that part of it as well, or am I dreaming that up?
Yeah, I mean, that was some of the very first announcements we had made in the server. It'd be like, oh my God, like we're 1% minted, we're 2% minted. And it was like these kind of like updates, kind of like, keeping people kind of pumped about our growth. And so, yeah, we periodically did updates on the percentage that the neighborhood was minted. And as I said, we set those thresholds for people. If you had minted, 20 properties or 50 properties or 100 properties, or if you're in the top 10, like Ben, you got special tokens that represented portion of ownership of the neighborhood. So yeah, it just kind of went, it went real fast, and we had a lot of help from FSA players too. Coop didn't mention this. He was one of our very first FSA agents in Portage Park. We set up a channel where people could work with FSA players to buy and flip properties. And we couldn't force anyone, but we tried to sort of set like a minimum that you would pay an FSA agents, because we didn't just want to take advantage of people. It was a non-collection neighborhood, but people were doing us favors. So it was a place where people could make deals and mint out, and those FSA days are long gone. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one left that I minted from those days. It's the only FSA left that I minted and still own, and it is my primary residence on the park in Portage.
That's nice. Cool. I like that. Yeah, the park.
On the park, did you say?
Yes, it is on the park.
Maybe that's a good segue. Like, one of the best times I had within, like, I'm nowhere near as active within the Portage Park server as I'd like to be. But one of the fun times was the whole SEAL Team 6 experience. Did you want to speak to that? Or is that still under wraps?
I think we can talk about it. That was a lot of fun. But basically, when we had come into Portage Park, and once we realized, hey, we probably want to expand beyond this one, Montrose Avenue, where the deli was, where we originally minted, and we were like, oh wait, there's a park in Portage Park. Maybe we should mint properties along the park. And so, those of us who were smart did that. Most of them were already minted. And there was some players in Portage Park, particularly around the actual park in Portage Park, who were holding properties and weren't doing anything with them. And they were kind of like a thumb in our kind of like a thorn in the side for a while because we were really focused on building up Portage Park. And the park became sort of like a focal point of like, if you own on the park, that's like cool. Like all of Portage Park is cool, right? But that's Portage Park in Portage Park. It's prime real estate. And so we really tried hard to develop it. But there were some folks who just weren't building, they weren't selling, or had like at the time felt like crazy prices. And at some point we were like, you know what? Some people have started buying some of those properties one by one. The person would like list the rest of them higher. And we're like, all right, we're good. This is going to be a slow bleed if people just like slowly buy these properties and they get jacked up and this person has no interest in developing or contributing to Portage Park. We need to, as we said, we need to take back our park. So we organized, as you said, this sort of SEAL Team 6, we called it. We found dedicated members in the community who we knew were going to be hodlers and were going to build. And we did an inventory of all the properties that this player held around the park, what their cost was, and decided we were going to do a flash sort of raid and buy all of the properties simultaneously before they had a chance to delist and mark them much higher. And so it was this whole thing coordinated across time zones. I think you woke up in the middle of the night. And it was a lot of fun to just sort of go in and see all of those properties to turn into ownership of Portage Park. And so all of those properties, or most of them, have been built on or in the process of being built on. But I remember it was just a lot of fun. It felt like we're doing this sort of subversive raid in the middle of the night to sort of like scoop all these properties up. You know, and the player made out pretty well too. I think they wound up with like, they woke up to like 2 million UPIX or something in their account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there, Cheese is just zooming into the map now. Is there many left for sale along the park now, Cheese? I'd just be interested to see what the price is like. Because what was the price? It was around the 100K mark, wasn't it?
Oh, wow.
They were well beyond 100K. I think the lowest ones were probably, I don't know, maybe 115, 120, and they probably went up to around 180.
But when we did the raid, what was it? There was 100 and 150.
Oh no, that's where the prices were when we did the raid.
Yeah.
They were in that range. Yeah, I mean, they weren't cheap, right? But
no.
Yeah, it felt worth it to get the ownership within committed community member hands.
Well, yeah, and they had gone from 50 to 70 to 90, and they just kept going up every time somebody bought one.
When STEM comes in, I'm wondering if you're near the park or if you're near like a nice big chunk of park land, if that's going to be an advantage. Because remember, we have so much stuff that is going to be coming out in regards to STEM, and like, oh look, that's so cute. I'm wondering if that's going to make properties by any park in any area kind of like go past the 1 million UPIX mark. Like, what are you looking forward to in regards to things that Upland has planned to come out that hasn't come out yet?
I think I'll actually hand it off to Coop and let him tackle this question, because I sadly have gone well beyond my time. I'm working from home and kind of stepped off for this call, and I suppose I'm supposed to go back to work. But just wanted to say thank you for letting me hop on and be a part of this. Not sure how much longer Coop can hang up, but maybe you can address that question, and would love to come back sometime. But thank you guys.
Thank you for joining us. Definitely.
I can say one of the things that we've always talked about wanting to do is an art walk. So, I mean, it can be, artists that have properties in Portage, and once we have the ability to actually display things in buildings and stuff like that, we can set up where you visit different places within the park and they can display their art that people can see. And hopefully at some point, that'll be something that people will be able to purchase to put in their own buildings and stuff like that. That's one of the things we've looked forward to. And I suppose it's something that could be a layer 2 type of project with all the stuff that people are building. But to me, that one is one that it would just be so much neater if it's actually in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait for us to be able to start walking into houses and exploring how people have things set up, like indoor decor. I would love Upland to come out with indoor decor and just have inside furniture as well as the outdoor decor. There's so many things to look forward to. It's just astonishing how much we've done this year with Upland, and how crazy it's gonna be in a good way for the new year. I'm gonna stop sharing.
Absolutely. Now, we talked about before how Portage was awarded the Halloween tour, but that was just a monumental disaster. Did you want to speak to that as well?
The tour that you could send and it didn't work, and people had no idea what to do. And then even whenever it did work, everybody's game was crashing because there were too many buildings and too much decoration on them. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a disaster, but it brought up a lot of attention.
Yeah. And I do know, as somebody that's mobile only, I could barely do anything. I certainly could do nothing in Portage Park, and same for Midtown Terrace. As soon as I tried to load the map with so many buildings, it would just flash crash immediately. So now that that's no longer the case, Upland has done an amazing job on optimizing the code or whatever they do on the back end to make it all nice and spiffy. Hopefully this year that will not be the case, and we'll get a decent tour through maybe there or Creedmoor Hub or something like that.
And it's the first couple of years of Upland just being in existence. So, it can only get better, right? What? I mean, well, like, I don't, say what you have to say. I'm sorry.
No, I was just laughing.
Oh,
just chuckling.
I was going to say, like, this was an awesome talk with you guys. And I can't wait as Upland comes out with more stuff to see what you guys do with it. Like, the STEM is something big for me. I'm really interested in that. And you guys have a nice big park there to accommodate whatever they give us. And we don't want to keep you too long. And I just wanted to thank you for coming on and talking more about Portage Park.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for having us. It's been something that we've wanted to do for a while. Kind of felt like Portage on Wax was a big enough thing to actually have something to talk about.
Yeah, and that NFT is beautiful. I love it. I love it so
Wait
much.
till they see yours.
Yeah. All right, if people, we will let you get out of here. If people wanted to find out more, what's the best way to go about it?
The best thing is going to be the actual server in Discord. The white paper can help you look at the project, and the Medium articles go a little bit deeper than the white paper. The website can link you to the Discord, but it needs to be updated a little bit, so you're not going to get as much information there. But most times, day or night, if you pop into the Discord and you start talking, there's somebody there to welcome you.
Nice.
I have a fun thing for the challenge. If they go into the Discord and they tag me and they just put PPDP.
Well, maybe we'll put that as the sicko challenge. We'll just hold you for another minute or two, Eric. We'll put that up. So that's a challenge, sickos. If you want to get this week's custom Morecheese NFT for the Portage Park episode, what did you say, Cheese?
You go to the Portage Park Discord and tag me in their general chat and say PPDP.
Nice. And we'll throw a bonus in for that as well. Everybody who completes those steps, you will be put on a wheel and you'll go in the running. In the next week's show, possibly we'll do a draw for this very special Welcome to Portage Park NFT.
Yeah.
The artwork done by the amazing D-Tech. Now, this is kind of a very exclusive NFT that's going to have all sorts of potential perks associated with it in future. So, yeah, don't sleep on this one, sickos. Pull your fingers out and put 10 seconds worth of effort in, you lazy bastards.
You lazy bastards.
Yes. All right.
I love it.
We'll let you get out of here, Coop. Thanks again for your time, mate.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Should I get them out of here?
No, I still got plenty of energy left. We're going to keep on.
Wow. Okay. All right. Whoa. Extra for our viewers at home. What you got?
I'm on a man flu high. I'm all drugged out. Let's Do something.
What you want to do? Want to be ballers,
I-
shot callers, brawlers?
I don't know. Did we want to do? I don't know. Just putting it out there. Did we want to just do some bonus sneaky peeky samurai aquatic stuff?
Sure.
What's,
Oh, yeah. How about our subject to change in case Upland changes stuff, pricing for the outdoor decor?
Yes. Now we are committed to getting this information out there this weekend. It will be out there this weekend in text format within the Samurai Aquatics server. Just the basic. We'll share the table and and we'll explain some of the reasoning behind it. And we will be doing a bit of not a bit of it. It'll be one of the major features of next week's UDU podcast. But yeah, why the hell not? We finished off here a bit earlier. Let me just pull that up.
A bit earlier. It's like an
Oh,
hour.
our showroom inaugurated. Our showroom inaugurated. We started late because those guys were late. I don't think we've been recording for that long. I think we started like half an hour late or something.
No, maybe 15 minutes.
Ah, well. No one's banging on the door yet to get in here, so as long as you're all right, I'll keep blabbing away for a while.
All right.
Until my drugs wear out. All right, so I'm going to bring up the Spark pricing now. Yeah, as she said, massive caveats, all subject to change, yada, yada, yada. Do your own research, not financial advice, and all the other disclaimers that you can possibly imagine. But this is what we've come up with for our pricing now. If you have no clue whatsoever, if you're just a massive fan of the Whine and Cheese show and you don't really know anything about Upland, well, maybe you just want to skip ahead or go and have a cup of tea or something. But yeah. So what do we got here, actually? So we've got a 10-piece collector's set. Now, these 10 pieces are a sauna, a pool, jacuzzi, island grill, patio umbrella, sitting table, sitting with fire pit, ice bathing station, garden swing, fountain. This is the first in what we are hoping is going to be many sets. This particular set has the features of it's a wooden trim, a light stain with, no, I got that all wrong. It's a wooden feature with a red trim and a light stain, whatever it is. And we're hoping to do lots of different versions. So instead of wood, it's going to be like tile. Instead of a red trim, it's going to be, blue or whatever the hell it may be. But this is our very first one. It's going to be red. Now, we had lots of discussions about max mints internally and with Upland, and we came up with, because this is our first common set, we came up with our commons were going to be 20,000 mints. This was well before we realized how much of a massive bottleneck or bottlenecks we were going to be subjected to with manufacturing. So yeah, while the max mints are set at 20,000, are we ever going to get to be able to manufacturing 20,000? Who knows? It's all part of the journey. But anyway, that's superfluous to what we're talking about here.
And we created the amount so that everybody can have something affordable within their nodes.
Yes. Originally, we were thinking prices in the order of like 9K and, like high numbers, low rates. But of course, manufacturing has been bottlenecked to the bejesus, so that all has to be factored in. There's several things that have to be factored in. There appears to be there's going to be no legacy payments for NFT creators. So most NFT projects, you set a price or you set a percentage that you will be, I don't know, how do you explain that? Legacy payment. So every time that NFT sells, you get a tiny kickback. Well, that's not going to be the case here. So that has to be priced into it as well. So the only two items within our set that we are actively manufacturing are the seating and table and the seating with fire pit. We have submitted all of these items. These 12 items have been submitted. Several of them were approved, but there's apparently some scaling issues on Upland that they're trying to work through. So, but in any event, these are the first 10 items, and they are common rarities, and we are kind of reserving the first 10 mints for specialist pricing. We will take reservations, and there will be some auctiony aspects as well. Myself, Morecheese, and DTech, we're reserving mints numbers 11, 12, and 13. So they're not for sale. They're going to be ours, my precious.
I put my freaking Zoom on the other screen by mistake. So if I'm looking this way, don't think I'm looking at something else.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. So yes, this is what we've got so far. So yeah, mint numbers 1 to 10. We've set these at a price where, look, we realize you might see a price there of 1 million UPEX and you might think, well, that's just ridiculous. Yeah, we're not looking to sell these lickety-split and fast. The ones that we are going to sell are going to be the mint numbers 14 plus. All right. Now, these ones here, these are kind of out there for people who are really into the concept and, you know, you're a mega Uber fan. And I think there's scope right across there. Like the prices start at 50K, which is a bit over what we think is going to be double-ish from the standard sort of mints, shall we say. Now, we've got most of these are redded out within the spreadsheet, and that's because we don't have any information from Upland about spark pricing, so we can't really make any, can't even begin to assume what the prices are going to be. But the two items that we are manufacturing will give you some idea. So the spark hours that we have for the seating and table is 65 hours, and the seating with fire pit is 70. The difference there, Cheese, is
5 spark hours.
because
Oh, okay. So so the seating with fire pit, the fire pit is made out of stone, and because of that material, they added 5 spark hours to the minting.
Yes. So, and again, this is all subject to change, but we are figuring that for the seating table, you're going to be looking at 26,000 UPEX to buy mint number 14 and above. And same for the sitting with fire pits, a little bit of a bump there to 28,000. Again, we don't know how that's going to play out in future, but we had to start somewhere. And my gosh, we have been on a massive roller coaster with pricing.
Yeah.
We've gone from, you know, extremes all the way down from like crazy cheap, as I said, but then we had all these manufacturing bottlenecks. We've gone to the other extreme. We've consulted a wide range of trusted people, and they were actually encouraging us to go way further in the other direction, like much higher pricing.
Yeah.
So we think we've kind of found a
nice medium.
Yeah, a middle ground here where we have options for people that want those lower mint numbers, and there's scope there for them to be able to secure those. These lower mint numbers, you're not going to FOMO into that. That's kind of crazy. That has to be a conscious decision to do that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, with what we've got here, I think that gives us reasonable scope. Now, this is a 10-piece set, as I said there. Now, there is one bonus piece set down here, which is the Monument number 1. If you don't know what any of these look like, get yourself over into the Samurai Aquatics Decor server. That's all listed out there. We're hoping to give away this monument for free to the first 200 people, because this is a mythic rarity. The first 200 people that collect the full 10-piece set will get the mythic. We'll get the mythic monument for free. We're hoping. Obviously, we don't know what the mechanics are there. It may be that we can do a swap with a legit spurner or something like that, but regardless.
Not to be taken or put into stone, but if it does ever occur that, you know, we are able to manufacture at a higher pace, a quicker speed, you know, prices are subject to change. It could go in a good way. Like they could go lower. Like let's say they put out the large factory, and that is a substantial you know, spark hour up. Like medium is, what is it, 10?
10, yeah.
10. And right now we're only working with 2. So if that's a substantial up, like let's say 50 or 100, which would be freaking ideal, you know, maybe we can, if it's possible, make the prices, you know, a little bit better. But we don't know that. This is beta. We're just finding things out. And from what we know, this is the best we can do at the moment with the spark hours.
Yeah, we have to start somewhere is the
Yeah.
point. And, like we got to start somewhere on very, very limited information. So
Very limited.
We do
Very
know that
limited.
not Samurai Aquatics, Outdoor Decor is going to open up very soon. Like our showroom inaugurated this morning, so technically we are ready to sell now.
With
And we
no
already have-
inventory.
Well, I think we're up to mint number 7
7. All right.
of these. So yeah, potentially. So we've essentially got these ready to go.
All right.
So yeah, we're not gonna.
I see that as showroom fodder.
Yes, absolutely. So we're not going to have. Technically, we're not going to have anything for mass public sale until we get
Yeah.
into mint numbers 14 and above, which is going to take quite some time. But
And then tell them about the new factory.
oh yes, the medium factory inaugurates in a couple of days, and then we have to work with Upland to switch over from the small factory to the medium factory. There will be some downtime. Like we can't have anything in production in the small factory,
Which is
before
weird.
we can make the switch.
Which is weird because if other people are able to manufacture for us, why can't we have multiple factories going? I mean that might be something for down the road.
Yeah.
I get it, but it's just weird. But okay.
So yeah, we will be. I think we've got 3 more pieces manufacturing now: the sitting with table and sitting fire pit. Once they're done, we won't be manufacturing anything until we switch over to the medium factory, and then we're going to be demolishing the small factory and rebuilding a medium factory on that same property. So yeah, hopefully we get to the point where we can run multiple factories. But yeah, at this stage, that's not an option. So again, we just have to work with what we got with. Now, the only thing we haven't touched on here so far is the Samurai Surfer. That is separate to this collection set. It is the first of its own. This is the first piece of what will be a collector set of this particular statues in different poses or different setups and that. Yeah, we're not putting prices out for these in any form yet. Mostly because we have no idea of the spark hours requirements. It's quite a large piece and it is stone. So we do know that stone has a higher spark hours requirement. So we could put a price out there, but then we find out the spark hours is like 300 spark hours or something crazy, and we're going to shoot ourselves in the foot. So we can't really go there yet. And that's kind of the same for the monument. The monument is a stone monument. So if we find out that the spark hours is 500 spark hours, we may have to rethink this whole process. But
Well, what I'm thinking of, and remember, none of this is set in stone. You get it? Is we will be like for the commons. I don't see us hiring anybody to manufacture those, since they're going to be like the prices are so low it wouldn't do anything for us. Yeah. But for like the mythics and the rares and the holiday stuff, when it is possible to, I would like to see those being kind of manufactured at other factories.
Absolutely. Yeah, and one of the additional things that has been priced in here too is transportation costs. Like at present, we're just airdropping inventory between the factories and the showrooms, but that's not always going to be the case. There will be a transportation mechanic that incurs costs at some stage that has to be factored in. So yeah, we don't know. It may be a weird situation like Cheese, you've said there that we're starting, say, with the sitting with table, we're starting at 26,000 UPEX, but if manufacturing increases, we're hoping we can drop that price. But if the costs increase, like if the transportation costs like become ludicrous or something like that, well, it may be a weird situation where, you're purchasing mint number 300, but it costs more than mint number 14.
Or we could just say transportation costs are not factored in.
Yeah.
And
included.
It'll be like a tax situation where it's not really taxed, but it's like an added cost for getting it to your property, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it too. It Doesn't
so
back us into a corner.
exactly. It'll be the same price as number 14, but with the added transportation cost. Depending, like, we don't know what's going to happen. Like, Ben has a truck, but of course he's not going to be driving or every single one of them. If D-Tech and I both get trucks, more people in UDU get trucks, we'll be able to do it. Or like if the UCC, create something, we don't know right now. We don't know how it's going to be. Hopefully somebody does get together and kind of forms like a truck union with decent pricing, so that can be something people could look out for in the future to make extra revenue if you do have a semi. Absolutely.
Yeah, we are putting this, like, we didn't plan to put this out. This is something we were going to put out later on in the week. So that if you're still listening at this stage or watching at this stage, you're clearly somebody who is all on board with stuff that we do, and we obviously appreciate your support and everything like that. So we are putting this out. Now, I did say we are taking reservations for these lower mint numbers, so we are taking reservations on these. So, but there will be priority given to people who are in the Samurai Aquatics server who have the Genesis Wave role. That means you join the server before we started manufacturing. You're basically an early adopter, shall we say. So there'll be priority given to people who were, that had the Genesis Wave role. There will also be priority given to people who want to reserve the full 10-piece set. Like if you come to us and say, okay, Ben, I want to reserve the sauna, pool, and jacuzzi mint number 10. All right, I'll pencil that in. But if somebody else who has the Genesis Wave comes in and says, okay, I want to reserve all of the mint number 10s, well, clearly that, takes precedent over that. So this is your chance to get a heads up, if you will. And we have had several people reach out in DMs inquiring about reserving some of these lower mint numbers and that, and the other thing. I have been saying, look, we don't know if that mechanic's going to be available. We do now know that is going to be available. So we are going to be able to do one-off pricing, and we can essentially now, I could trade I could trade Cheese, the mint number 1 seating with table, for a Burner Legit. That functionality is apparently live now. That's came on board with the trading of cars. I haven't tested that out because obviously that's not something we're going to play with, but apparently that is a thing. So that's why we've kind of kicked off with this, and we're going to go live with it. So you've got like a, this is going to go live in the server probably within the next 2 days. This video goes live tomorrow. So it's going to be about the same time, maybe a day ahead. You might get 24 hours ahead. So yeah, if any of these interest you, reach out while you can.
Yeah, while you can, because I might snatch up that number 10
yourself.
I know. I need my UPIX for other stuff, but
you got to pay off UCC contracts and everything.
Oh, Ben.
You've got properties to buy.
I got properties to buy.
So yeah, that's a bit of a bonus bit there.
Oh, let me put this on the other screen now that you stopped sharing. Oh, my neck.
All right, now I think we've been blabbing on long enough. I got that out of my system.
And we could refer people to this if they we could make this into one of your
clippage.
Yeah. What do you call them? Snack size.
Yeah. All right. I think we can get us out of here now, Cheese.
Wait. Stay fresh, cheese bags.
Go ahead, get your pinky up. Talk wine and cheese, motherfucker. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Talk wine and cheese, motherfucker. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Go ahead, get your pinky up. The left fire, samurai, riding on the dingo, flying through the sky. Cheese in the house, get hot, get dry. Hit you with the hairbrush, hit you with the knife. The left fire, samurai, riding on the dingo, flying through the sky. Hit you with the knife.
flying through the sky. Eagle empire, samurai, riding on a dingo, flying through the sky. Cheese in the house, get active right. Hit you with the hairbrush, hit you with the knife. Eagle empire, samurai, riding on a dingo, flying through the sky. Hit you with the knife, flying through the sky.